picture of us in crop tops with bare stomachs. Late dazzling teens, liberated party queens, friends with vomit. Was it lost in resistance as somewhere in the depths of me? Take me on a spree through every part of me, orange warning. Add color to the lines and friction to my mind, orange warning. Oh, take me on a spree. There's yet so much I haven't. The only constant thing is change. There's no such thing as safe orange warnings. Layer by layer, I didn't know narrowness in my childhood. Little by little, we unfold the lives are lost in who dries a drink still inside somewhere in the depths of me.
Hello. There we go. Hi everybody, welcome to the live stream. Welcome for joining in today. Let me just get my microphone so you can actually hear me. I'm running a little bit late today, so I'm glad I managed to get this started on time. That should make me sound a little bit better. Hello, hello. And it looks like I got my Streamlabs set up, so I've changed my setup down here a little bit too. I got my nice Dev2 hat on because it's freezing outside. I was just outside with my kids. It was 3 degrees this morning as I was outside waiting for the bus for them, so that was fun, nice and chilly. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, so for anybody who is here in the States, just know that's very cold. It's going to be snowing soon, I think. Hi Richard Me123, welcome. If anybody could say hi in the chat, glad that you're all here and welcome everybody. And I just realized I didn't change today's topic, so let's do that. As I said, I was running a little bit late. The bus was like 15 minutes late this morning. Topic description, here we go. How do I edit this? Today I'm changing what we're doing. We're going to be working on CSS demystified. Is that going to fit? It does. CSS demystified landing page. And done. There we go. So we have the right topic now. So basically, I've been working on my website for CSS demystified, and I want to get it live. I want to get that thing up because the current one is not very nice. Let me just close a bunch of stuff I have open. And I want to make it look better, and I've been working on it pretty hard. And over on my Discord, somebody suggested a bit of a redesign, a UI fix up for a few things, and some of it I thought was really cool, and I thought it could be fun to implement. And even just as a learning opportunity, I think there's some really fun things that we can do with it. So we're going to explore that a little bit. It looks like we got a whole bunch of follows. I don't know, should I have this on for Streamlabs? It's good because then I get to know people are following, because if not, I don't notice. But thank you for the follow. Morency, Egon Niki1, Key 5, and Ancient Coder, as well as Alfron Zamed. Vipin Mishra is saying, how are you? Big fan of your work from India. Welcome. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Having my last coffee of the morning. After that, it will be underwater. And it was cold outside, but it's not that cold in here. I'm going to start sweating soon. But I do like that hat. So I hope everybody is doing good. Ancient Coder. Yeah. Hey there. Hey there, Jeff. Good morning, big fan already. You already got my CSS demystified. Thank you. Habib, welcome to the live stream. So here, let's pull up what I will be working on. I'll show you what I currently have, and I think we're actually going to work in CodePen for a little bit of this, just because I haven't made a fork or anything. I might try and do it in CodePen first to see if we can actually get it working, and then maybe after I could try and get it on my current actual site. And that way I could share the CodePen with everybody too. Red Toro, the CSS wizard is on. Thank you very much. Thanks for the follow, Fredroid8080. Yeah, I like that hat. I got this hat from Dev2, but it was if you write an article with them in the top, is it the top 7? No, and then you get like the newsletter and it has the top posts from the past. Is it week or month? I don't remember. But you'll actually get a bit of they give you some credits so you can get some swag, which is cool of them. Really, I thought that was fun. I got a t-shirt, which I wore like twice and I don't know what I did with. I got the hat and I got a coffee mug, but I don't have that right now. I think that the coffee mug's probably made an appearance on other live streams though. Valois, welcome. Looks like we're doing pretty good. Okay, so let me pull up on my screen what we're doing. So this is, oh, that's not the right layout. Whoa, what's going on? Oh, I know what's happening. Okay, that's going to be annoying. Can I change this live? I changed my setup on my screens. I put my second screen on the left instead of on the right, and now it's screwing everything up for me. Okay, let me see if I can fix this really quickly. My screen. I think I have to go into my filters. This will just take me a second to do. I have a crop filter and I just need to switch the left. Things are going to look weird for a second. Put that under the right. Done. And now I think... There we go. Okay, so this is the current site. This is what I've been... Actually, let's go look at the current site. cssdemystified.com. This is the current version of what I have, which I'm not a huge fan of. This font I sort of liked, and I used that for my conquering responsive layouts course, and like the logo, and I sort of liked the style that I came up with for this one. Oh, here you don't see it. It's only in the logo pretty much, and I liked that, and then so I started using it when I made this page. I mean, it looks okay. The blue sort of works better, but I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of this. I wanted something that looks a little bit better. And I needed to update this landing page anyway. It says that the course should already be launched, which it's clearly not. So I made this new logo-y thing, and then based this complete redesign based on that. And I think it looks a little better. I was having fun with... Oh, that's... I might have to change my media query. But having fun with these guys, doing a few different things with it. So I was playing around, and then I'd posted it in my Discord and asked for feedback from people, because I wasn't super happy with it. It's sort of on the right way, but I feel like it's missing something. I definitely need images too. There was imagery missing from here. So here we go. This is what I don't want to mess up his name, and I did say I would plug him. Let's open up my Discord. So this was created by Arthematics. Arthematics sort of came up and threw something like this together, which he used a different font, but I'm going to stick with the font I originally did. And there was a couple fun things in here. I'm not going to... Well, I don't have testimonials yet, but he did some interesting things here, and I especially like this idea of these chat bubbles on the side, and the idea of them like popping up once somebody lands on the page. And it brings this into a bit more prominence, which I think is a good thing. So this is sort of the design that I want to try and do, but the main focus of this live stream is going to be making these guys. And if I can get that to work, it's going to be doing something like this too, where we can have a hand that goes over and reveal, like, the color changes, but only focused, and if you click, it can expand out, even though it's going to scroll as soon as you click. But we could do something like that. I'm going to be using Sass to do it for some of this, because I think it will make our life a little bit easier as well. So that's sort of the idea of what I want to do. And let me move my Discord out of the way now so I can check the chat. Let's see who else is here. Demoxker. I saw a notification on YouTube, tried to find a link to your Twitch site, haven't found it, came here via... Oh no, I didn't put the link when I put the Twitch... I posted this on YouTube and forgot to put the link. I was in a bit of a rush this morning. So hopefully others can find it too. Can I reply to that? YouTube... I think... I find this is the most annoying. If I want to access my thing, I have to like come here myself. They haven't fixed that in your thing. I guess I'll put it... Can I edit it? No, I can just delete it. You can find it here. Sorry for forgetting the link. And I think... Oh no, it's not copied anymore. Undo. 6:35, what's that? I'll just do it fast. Twitch.com/Kevin Powell CSS, right? I was like making sure my links work. Looks good. Oh, twitch.tv. Whatever. There we go. At least people can find it now. Thank you for letting me know about that. Zeppy, I'm doing a specialization in UI UX design at ColArts and your courses are very helpful. I really mean it. Oh, I'm glad that I can help out. That sounds like a cool specialization. Thanks for the follow, Overlord MMORPG and Dimscar. Hi Jonah Joe, how's it going? Blade Masters is here too. I have a follow from Hello Weirpan. Hello. You started learning, you're 55 years old. Zeppy is 55 years old and started on Webstack last year, but I've been a great inspiration to keep learning. I'm glad. How's the music, guys? Can you hear it? Is it too loud? Or is it not loud enough? Should I just turn the music off? Let me know. Thanks for the follow, Vipin Mishra. Mr. Tuck is saying the music is good. Awesome. So I'll keep the music going. I don't usually run, I can't even hear the music because I don't have my headphones on. But I don't usually run music, but I figured for live streams maybe it's a bit more interesting, so let me know what you think. Okay, so let's open up. I'm not going to modify here. I haven't made a branch or anything, and I'd have to do quite a bit of work. So eventually we might end up in here, but I want to test something first. So I don't know about you guys, but I like just testing things out in CodePen. Actually, I should leave this here. I have a habit of just testing things out in CodePen all the time. So I'm just going to make a chat bubble. No. Okay, let's pull up the design that I'm trying to do. I'm not going to try and replicate it. When I do it in CodePen, it's like a rough draft. It's because I don't want to have to open a new file and have extra things lying around that I'm never going to do. So I can just come into CodePen and do it instead. Figma. Okay, so turn that off and shrink it down. And we'll just leave this here so we can sort of see, I guess here, if I wanted to do this background pattern too, I'd need an SVG to eventually come in there. So let's, yeah, I mean, we could call this, I just want something that's going to hold everything. So like say chat bubbles. And in there, I mean, these aren't real chat things, but like they're not really block quotes. We'll just do div. I'm not too... And the other thing I like about doing things is rough drafts first before doing it, when you're just trying to see if the idea works, is you're a little bit less worried about the semantics of stuff, and so you're just focused on functionality. Can I get this to work? And then when I go to do it in my actual project, then I'm worrying, okay, it's functional, I've done all the hard stuff, now I can focus more on like... you know, having good semantics, making sure it's properly organized, that my class naming is actually okay. Maybe it's because of the way I work, but if I make a branch and do a rough draft and it's working, I just want to pull that thing in. I don't want to refactor it and make it better. Whereas if I have it somewhere else, and this is a mindset thing, I guess, where it's like when you're working, you know, like they even say like you should have a work desk and somewhere else to play games type of thing if you're a PC gamer. Because it's like different mindsets, different locations for different mindsets. CodePen's like my rough draft mindset. Even for writing, I have a Typora, it's like a markdown editor that I use for writing. I don't do it in other places. I used to do it in Dropbox Paper too, but that's like rough draft. zone, and then I bring it somewhere else when I'm doing my editing and fixing up, and I just have different like ways. So I think if you have a different way of working, there's no problem with that, obviously. So div.chat, so we can just have a single chat bubble here. We're going to need some JavaScript for this guy too, I think. No, this one won't. This guy's going to need some JavaScript. So you're going to get to see me fumble around with JavaScript today. That should be interesting. Romel is saying, you love my YouTube videos. Thank you. Just signed for you. You just signed up to Twitch for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I am going to be probably doing a live stream next Monday, maybe, where we set up some chat functionality and stuff for you guys to be able to do stuff. So it's not just passive. I don't know if I want to do if any of you follow James Q Quick, who if you don't follow him, I would really suggest that you do for JavaScript content and some really just good all around stuff. Talks about a wide range of topics, but give him a follow. But he has people in the chat can make him do dabs and stuff. Not sure if I want to be constantly dabbing, but yeah, I'd recommend giving him a follow. Hella saying that he makes him dab in all his streams. Yeah. Undead Pix, welcome back. Actually, can we do this? There we go. I see a few more follows coming in. Thank you for the follows. Romel, you just followed me. Thank you. And Laser Mr. Magoo, welcome from England. Whereabouts in England? My dad's from Liverpool. I have family throughout, and I have a family in a few different places, and in Wales as well. Alright, so we have my chat bubble. I'm not even going to bother with the image right now. I think what I'm going to do in my chat bubble, we'll just do a paragraph of name, and we'll give them really short names. Lorem 2. Lorem ipsum can be the name, and then P comment. I don't even know if, whatever, P comment is fine. So their name and their comment, and you see I'm not worrying about too much here. We'll do a lorem 15. There we go. Maybe that's too long, but we'll see how it goes. So one thing I do with my rough drafts, even though it's a rough draft, is I will set a body background on here and stuff. Usually I work from a template in CodePen, but it's so set up, so I should really make a starting point CodePen for when I'm doing complete rough drafts from nowhere, instead of using the one because the one I have has base custom property set up. It already has a container that has a very specific thing. I use it for most of my YouTube demos. But here I just want my box sizing to be border box. I guess that's all we need for now. What did I do wrong? Oh, there we go. And color can be EEE for now. One thing with this, and I don't know for sure, but I think Artemix might be more of a UI UX. The contrast ratios here, it's a small font and it's not super high contrast, so I would boost those closer to white. It looks prettier like this, but the contrast ratios are probably a bit too low. Romel's asking if I'll update it to YouTube. All my live streams will get put on YouTube, but they're unlisted, but the playlist for my lives is public. So you can find the playlist and then see all my live streams. Daimo Scar is asking about the price for the course. Oh, Blazers in Manchester. Quite close rivals, that is, yeah. I am a bit of a Liverpool fan, so whatever, I wouldn't say last season, whatever last season was a pretty good one for me. The price for the course, that is a good question. The price for the course, I did decide recently to break it off into 3 tiers. So there'll be a base tier, which is the full course itself, full 3 weeks of the course, which was the original plan I had from the very beginning. So that one's going to be $35. And then the other ones will include extra content on top of the base course. So those ones, the prices will go up a bit on it. And all of that will be revealed in the not too distant future. Hopefully. I'm hoping to have it launched in like, wow, time flies, like 10 days. The landing page should be live and available for purchase. So I need to start recording on that stuff too. But I do need to get this page finished as well. Chat. Background needs to be a little bit lighter. I did 333, we'll go 55, or maybe even a 444 with a bit of padding and border radius. For now, I'm just going to give it a width of 400 pixels and a margin of 1em on all sides, just so it's not stuck and I can see what it looks like a little bit better. Thanks for the follows. Is that annoying seeing the follows, or is that something other Twitch streamers do too? I can turn that off in Streamlabs. Richard me 123. No, I'm not coding the purchase from scratch. I don't. My courses are hosted on Podia, so all of that's handled for me. I don't want to have to bother with all of that stuff. Prana saying that you love my courses, so please do it as quick as possible. Yeah, I mean, I need. I don't want to rush it. A lot of people have said don't rush it, like quality over speed. But the first, I've recorded a bunch now, and by the end of this week, I should be about halfway done recording everything, so that's good. Bastiman85 is saying it's better having it in the chat than on the screen. Yeah, and I won't even see it if it's on the screen because of the way I've set things up here. So now let's just do name. Margin is 0.5em. Usually I have something that's whoops. I'm just going to put a margin 0 here. I don't usually do it on that for my actual sites, but it's going to simulate more what I actually have set up. So I can do something like that. Font weight 700. And now where I want to get a little interesting. And this is something, I haven't done a Sass loop in a little while, but if we're going to have multiple of these guys, so just, if I have multiple, we can do one more. We can definitely use Sass here instead of, like, I'm not too concerned with the colors of the names. If I had really specific colors, but they're not colors that I plan on repeating really anywhere else. So I could come up, like, these could be utility classes, and I could actually use Sass to loop through and make the utility classes as well. And that would work perfectly fine. But I don't really, for this site, I don't think I'm going to use the colors very often. So I'm not too stressed as long as they're readable and easy to get to. I think it would be fine. And there's two different types of loops you can do in Sass. We have for loop, or maybe there's more, but there's for loops and each. So if I had like a map of colors, so if you don't know Sass maps, I could do like colors. And then inside of my colors, I could have a whole list, right? So I could have like red is F00. Oops, it's a comma separated. I always put semicolons when I make maps, and then it takes me forever to realize it. Blue RGB 00F, and just say green. See, I did the semicolon there again. Would be 0F0. Does that work? Yeah, there we go. So I could do something like that if I had my predefined colors that I wanted. And I used to use Sass maps a lot for colors. It is a really, you could come up with a really simple function. You create your own to get the color you want and use it anywhere you need. So I used to use color maps, and even I'd have like maps inside maps. I don't know what they call it, like the submap. You could have like your primary and then have inside of that like another map that would break down into different, your light, your medium, or your like a light, the regular, and then the dark version of your primary, and then the same for secondary, the same for tertiary, and all of that. But since I don't have colors picked, that would be for an each loop, because you could then use an each loop to go through and pull these colors out. But I don't want to, so I mean, and if you know JavaScript, it's really just at each color in colors, right? And then you could come up with what you want to do. And I might have mucked that a little because I haven't done one in a while. But basically you could have it output classes for each one and set it all up for you. But because I don't have colors, that's not going to work. So instead I can do a for loop. Let's just see what's happening in here. Craig Miller is saying, oh, let me just catch up a little bit. Oh, we're pretty much there. I am Salam, hi, welcome, and Dana Chu, welcome. Craig Miller, I haven't used maps like that, so this is like this, I don't think it's as useful, like you might as well just come up with all your colors. And list them as, as variables. So you could have your red, and then it's your red, and then you could have your blue, and each one's its own variable. I think that's perfectly fine if you're just going to do that. I find maps get more useful when you do the submap thing. So if I did red, and then in here, I haven't made one of these in a while, but let's see if this works. And then in here I could have light, and I could have like a light version of my red. Let's just put pink. Then I could have base is red, and then I could have dark is burgundy. I don't know if I'm gonna spell that right, but whatever, burgundy. There we go. And then you have to, it's a bit annoying when you set this up at first, because you have to create a function that has a map get to get to the red, and then in that you need another map get to like take that next step to get into this map. So you end up with nested get maps, map gets, to be able to get to what you want. But it's one of those things that once you've created it for one project, you'd never write it again. You just reuse that function in all your projects to be able to make it work. So if you're setting up with Sass, that could be useful, but I find I use custom properties so much more these days. For colors and fonts and all that stuff. Oh, okay, we'll go check it out. I have to remember now. So how are these colors accessible? So, okay, let's say I did something like this. Let's see if I can do this now. I haven't done something like this in a little while, and I haven't written a map get in a while. I might have to go to Sass's documentation, because anytime I'm doing this, I have my function that exists, but it would be color is, I think it's map get. I want to go into my colors, and I'm just going to do the first one, and we can get blue. Is that right? No, that didn't work. We will have to go and look at their stuff. You compiled CSS. That didn't work at all. If anyone can help me out in the chat. Isn't that how it works? I'm gonna use, I see Mr. Lin saying using HSLA. I'm gonna use that for these colors actually, because we can do something fun with it. Thanks for the follow, Luca Malatia. Ragnar, welcome, welcome. I see some people just mentioning the only colors they know are black and white for when you're using hex. The only reason I remember red, blue, and green is it's just RGB. So here, if I do red, just for fun, so red is always FF0. So if you just remember, it's F00. So it's the first value is your red. And if you have two, it'd be FF0000. So like the first two values are your red value, the next two are the blue, the next two are the green. So pure red is red on, other colors off. Green is the second one, and blue is the third one. After that, don't ask me to know a color. Oh, I just have to put that in quotations. Oh, did I break it with this guy? Oh no, I shouldn't have. Oh, there we go. Okay, I just missed my quotation marks around blue. So I can get my... So map get colors to blue. Now I don't like doing this, if ever I'm doing it. So instead of that, or even here, and then what you could do if you want to get your base here, it would be get map colors, and then here would be another one where you do a get map of red. Whoops. Red. And then you could get the one you want. So here you could get your base, let's just say. That should work, right? I mucked something up. Oh, is it because if it's a sub map, do I have to do it? Would this be like that then? I don't remember doing it like that, but it could be. I didn't think so. Anyway, there's a way of doing the sub nesting in there. As I've been using so much, yeah, I did my get map again. Oh, map get, whoops. Map get. That might be why. But there's no variable red. That makes sense. So would it be like that? I've been using CSS variables for so long now. Anyway, you have to do this nested map get to get what you want. Or isn't it on this one? I might be screwing that up. You have to do the colors. I know what it is. It's colors and then this should be red. Let me just see if I'm wrong. Isn't it colors red and then you run like another map get on that guy? Map get. Oh, that's right. Okay. Okay. Let's get this working since we've gone this far down the rabbit hole. Map get colors, comma, red, comma, light. Null is not a map for map get. Oh, wait. I'm doing it, man. Okay, 1 second. Nested, map, get, Sass. This is embarrassing. I did a course on this stuff. I've been using so much Sass. Okay, so that was okay. The deep get. This is function, map get, map, return map. I don't want the function. You would definitely want to set up a function to get the deep one when you've set it all up. These are not... There we go. So something like that. And this is where it can be really useful. Like things like this, it can be really useful in. I did do it. Okay. Oh, same mistake I made last time. I didn't put them in parentheses. Success. So then you could change this one to be dark, and it's gonna be dark. I called it dark, or burgundy is not working. I misspelled it probably. Base, it should switch to red. There we go. The one problem with this is you obviously don't want to write this every time. So normally what you do is create a function so you can just write something a lot simpler than having to write all of this out. But then if you have things like this where sometimes it's nested and sometimes it's not, then your function has to be a bit more complicated because you have to check whether it's a nested one or not a nested one, and it becomes a bit of a pain in the butt. I see a few people. Enoch Steenman, hi there. Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot the link. I'd only realized it after someone else mentioned it. So I put it in the comments, but it's probably gotten buried by now. I apologize for that. The link was supposed to be there. Craig Miller, no problem. But yeah, you definitely would want to come in and make a function if you did something like this, because if not, like having to write map get every time, you're going to go nuts. So you create like your own color function, like a color getter function, and it works really well. But I do want to focus on this because I do want to make sure I can get this working. So I'm not going to go any further down this rabbit hole. But I do need to refresh my memory a little bit on that stuff because I haven't done it in so long. And again, these are the type, like once you create a function, as I said, like one of the reasons I have a function that I use, and I haven't used it in a recent project, but I have functions for this. But the problem with those functions is once you've made it, you never rewrite it because you're just using, like if you're coming up with complicated functions, you have that as your starter file for the next project, right? So you're just, or you copy and paste it, worst case scenario. So you tend never to create them again. So even like creating like the media query functions, which I have, I mean, I could recreate it now, but I've just been using it for like 2.5 years. I haven't had to remake it in that time. So you forget a little bit on how some of this stuff works sometimes. Yeah, I know we need links for everything. I apologize for that. Oh, I did want to keep one thing here. So let's not keep those colors, but I think this would be more interesting anyway. So for my name, what I want to do, and again, this is more Sass, more fun with Sass. I'm going to do color, and we're going to use an HSL value. And you could do an alpha, but I don't need an alpha on this, so I'll just do an HSL. So from HSL, if you don't know HSL, the first number is always degrees. So we'll can do 0 degrees. Then it's percentages. So the saturation percentage, 100%, and then the lightness percentage, I'll do that at 50%, and they should be red. Yeah. So 0 or 360, and you're just following the color wheel. Color wheel. Let's find a good color wheel. I want one that's smooth, like something like this. We're following a guy that's a little bit like this, where we're starting here and like, you know, so well, red should be at the top though, so that's not a very good example. I'm saying red's at the top just because this is where we're starting. We're starting at 0 degrees, and then if you go around to 360, you loop back around to there. So if I change this to 180, we can look here and see that 180 would be green. So if I switch that to 180, my name should change to green. Or not. That color wheel's, we're coming more to here. That's why I wanted a smooth one. Red. So we're sort of, yeah, we're going from like here across into this zone over here. So this, it can be easier to predict a little bit. And then here, this is your lightness. So if I did that at 50, it's going to get darker. So you can keep the same color, but control the lightness of it. And then the last value is, sorry, that's your saturation. Saturation and then lightness. So if you go up to 100%, it's always going to be white because you have 100% lightness. And if you go to 0, it's always going to be black no matter what because you have 0 lightness. So it changes to black. So 50%, I think 50% tends to be the pure color. And 100 saturation, 50 lightness, I think is like that pure exact color of that. And then you get your shades and tints and your saturation values. Ragnar, you reinvent the wheel. You redo it every single time. Well, at least then you remember how to do it. Oh, we got a Mr. Lin has... Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's even better. It has the... We can see the different numbers we can get. That's a good one. Thank you for that, Mr. Lin. So one cool thing we can do with this is instead of putting this here, I'm going to do a variable, custom property. And this is something... I could do this with a Sass custom property too, but I'm going to do this as, we'll call it hue, comma, and then I want to come in, I'm just do red. So like if for whatever reason it doesn't work, the name should, red. 0 degrees, or 0 degree, doesn't matter. There we go, we can see they come in. So if there is no hue, it's going to automatically be red. So if I screw something up, at least I know it has a color. I probably should set that to like this color. So why don't we do that? We'll get that color right there. Oh wait, that doesn't help me. Can I get the HSL? I don't want an RGB. Hex, HSL. 173 should be close enough. That's okay. Even if it's not perfect. 173 degrees will be the default value that comes in for my hue. And now is where the fun can begin. So instead of doing like going through a map, and this is, I didn't do it before. I said you could use an each loop. So each color in colors, I think is how it works. And then you could grab each value from a map and have it do something with that value. So it could be creating a utility class, which could be super useful, or stuff like that. But in this case, I don't have anything to get from. So I do think it would be easier. Oh, Craig's saying he didn't know about the fallback. I love this. I use it all the time now. It's really useful. So if you know JavaScript, you'll know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to do a for loop. So it's for I. And then this is one thing I like about Sass is it's easy to write, but it's for I. Is it from or is it? And I think you can even change that word, right? There's two. From 1 through, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you have a list, like if you have, say you had a map of colors, I think you can get the length of that map. Or even, it doesn't even have to be a map. If you just have something that's like colors in Sass, and then you did like red, blue, green, can't you do that? I think you can do that. I forget what that's called. But it's like an array pretty much, but in Sass. So you could have it find the length of colors and then use that here if you had something like that set up as well. But you can't have it check your HTML. So you can't have it based on like how many items you have here. Which would be really cool, but that we can't do sadly. Pranav is asking about good resources to learn Sass. One I always recommend to people is Sass guidelines. I will eventually have a course back out on it too, but that's probably going to be January or February. So, and you can see I need to brush up on it a bit before I put that course out. Sass guidelines, it's more, I wouldn't say you're going to learn as much about like exactly how it's working. It goes like you can see it's naming conventions, architecture. Does it go into how variables work and everything? It talks about scoping and stuff. But I really would recommend this as a good place. If you're learning Sass, like I would read every post on this page. I think it can really help people out. So that's Sass, I'll put it in the chat, Sass guidelines. Any link to music playlist? I'm just using, I'd signed up for Epidemic Sound a long time ago. I could find it, 1 second. I'm just running, if I can find it. What window do I have it open in? Is it in Firefox? Whoops, that's my kid watching Minecraft. Oh, here it is. It's Epidemic Sounds. I don't even know which one I'm on. It's not showing me which one I'm on. I think I hit... Is it Beats? You'd think it would show me. But I was just here. I don't know if you have to subscribe to listen. I think you just have to subscribe to download or to use it in streams or on YouTube channels and stuff. But I think it's in the Beats one here, maybe. Craig Miller is asking if I have a starter go-to folder structure. Yeah. My folder structure has been changing a little bit. I used to use this one. Well, I still use this, but it's just been modified a little bit. Where is it? The 7.1 pattern. I don't use it exactly like they have here, but I use something like that. And then I just have like my abstracts, which is one of the ones that's been modified a little bit. And I don't really... I've changed a little bit of what I do here, but it's really being... I'm changing it now as we speak, so it's in flux. But my abstracts, which is like all my mix-ins, my variables, and functions, they all live in there, so that doesn't really change too much. Sometimes I have to add a new mix-in or a new function for a specific project, but I sort of have like a media query one, my color one. Those are the ones I use the most. I must have something else in there that I haven't used in a little while. Let me just move this out of the way because that's there. And so, okay, so here, what I think, I still can't see the chat. Sorry, there we go. So here, what we can do is and nth child, but then for each nth child, instead of selecting like a specific one, we can, I'm going to do the pound symbol, squiggly braces, and the letter I. So it's going to grab this guy and insert it here for each loop. So the first time around it's number 1, the second time around it's number 2, the third time around it's number 3. And so for each nth child, let's just say color green and make sure this works. It's a little bit like doing a console log. See, I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? And nth child should be fine. For I. Anyone in the chat? Oh! Thank you, Craig Miller. I forgot my... There we go. So all of them should change to green, and if we come and look in my compiled CSS though, you can see it's like nth child 1, nth child 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's kind of cool that you can do that, right? This is one thing that Sass is awesome for. And even though I'm using things like CSS custom properties instead of Sass variables for a lot of stuff, being able to do this type of stuff is cool. But then instead of looping through and just putting the same color to all of them, what we can do is give each one of them a different version of the hue. So for my hue, let's just try and do this as my hue will be 150 degrees, and it should all change colors. So we see it's working. But I don't want it to do that. I want to do hue will be, we'll take my I again, so hashtag that $I. This is a little bit like in what's it called, in JavaScript, right? Like if I want to bring this here as an actual number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can't just put the variable down like that. It's not going to work. I forget what this is called, but you need to do that. So you have the hue that comes down, so it'll be the number times... Do you need degrees? That might screw me up here. I want that number times, let's just try 25. 25 degrees. I'm sure something like this would work though. What's that giving me in my compiled CSS? Do I have to... Oh, maybe I have to wrap that in a calc? I didn't think I would. But let's try. Calc. They're all orange. Why are they all the same color? That's doing what I want it to do. Like 5 times 50 is not the same as 4 times 50. So why? The one annoying thing with custom properties... Oh wait, I know why. They're all first children. Silly, silly man. The name is always the first child inside of the chat. So, what I want this to be then is .chat nth child space name, which is kind of messy. Or I could even do like space ampersand, I guess. Would that work? Ah, there we go. I have a nice little rainbow. That's not the prettiest thing in the world. Actually, this, well, this works. I think for documentation purposes, like I'd rather leave that as .name. Oh, except then it doesn't work. I know why. Because of the way Sass is outputting that, yeah. Because if not, it's nesting. It's doing like .name. Here, I'll show you why that doesn't work. If I do .name here, but it's nested inside of my .name, what's happening is view compiled CSS. It's coming up with .name, .chat, .name, which doesn't work. Interesting thing with Sass is when you bring the ampersand in, even over here, it realizes that this means you don't want it to be nested inside of here pretty much. So now if I go and take a new look at it, view compiled CSS, it's doing it the way we want it to do it, which is kind of interesting. I think the best thing here would actually just be to break this out and not have it nested in the name. Do I need the degrees? I'm not sure if you need degrees. No, you don't need the degrees. So even here 173 should work. So it looks like it's working without having degrees there. Because it's in a calc, it's going to work with having the degrees there, but Veloa is asking me if I use placeholders in Sass. So if you don't know a placeholder in Sass, you could have something like this. So you have like a regular, in Sass we have a variable like this, so like color is red. You could also have a placeholder, which is this, and then do placeholder is purple. It doesn't like my placeholder. I don't use placeholders, so maybe that's why. Isn't that how you do a placeholder? It doesn't like my placeholder. I'm guessing that's what you're asking me about, Veloa. Oh, are placeholders when you have a full color? Oh, it is. Okay, color red, background blue. What else can we put in here? Color red, background blue, border radius 10 pixels. So a placeholder like this in Sass, so a variable like this, that's the big difference. A variable can only hold one value. It's like a CSS custom property, it can only hold one value. Whereas a placeholder holds a bunch of stuff. To use a placeholder, so if I come and look at my view compiled CSS, you won't see that anywhere. It's not showing up anywhere. So to use a placeholder, or to use a variable, you just do it, right? So like my color here could be my red. So that one's pretty straightforward. To use a placeholder, you use an extend. So here on my chat, let's just say I would do @extend placeholder. I think I need this guy here. There we go. And you can see it's changed like some of the things I did. It's taking the red. My background's not working, but the background's not working just because of how I've set things up. Like here, if I change my board, I'll just put important. It's not working because of the cascade, pretty much. There, you can see that my placeholder's working. I don't use placeholders very much. I tend to use mix-ins, just because mix-ins, you can have a mix-in that's exactly like this, and it's going to work, and you can make mix-ins more complicated, and they're going to work. Whereas placeholders are sort of stuck like this, and in general, if you're going to use an extend, I think it makes sense to use an extend with a placeholder and not extending other stuff, just because it can get messy really fast. But I've just gotten out of the habit of using extends, so I tend not to use placeholders. But there's nothing wrong with them. I think they're a cool feature. Pranav, where did I learn Sass? I started writing Sass because of variables, and that was because of Travis Nielsen over on DevTips. He was big on Sass, so I'd started writing Sass almost as soon as I started following him. And then I just really got into it. I learned it all on my own through reading the documentation and practicing a lot effectively. Humble Foy is asking how to keep up with deprecated attributes. Which, do you have any in mind? I'm just curious. Yeah, Craig Miller saying variables were 100% the reason I got into Sass. I was like, that for me, that was enough reason. And one thing I love about Sass is it's not like, if you want to learn JavaScript, you need to go all in. Like, you need to learn JavaScript. If you want to learn Sass and you already understand CSS, you can add one thing at a time. So now variables are a little bit less useful compared to, since we have custom properties. So maybe you don't need that, but like that's the reason I started, and that was the only thing I used at first. And I'm like, well, I'm using these, and then okay, now mix-ins you can add in, and mix-ins can be super complex. You can also make a really simple mix-in. So then let me add mix-ins to the recipe, and you start understanding how mix-ins work. You can start using mix-ins in your project, and then you start learning about, oh, I can make my own custom functions. That's super cool. And actually, one of the other things that I love about Sass is this. I'll do it for my paragraphs, like my .comment. .comment. Color is RGBA red, comma 0.5. That just makes me so happy. Not having to like put stuff here, but the only problem with this is all my colors now are custom properties and projects that I work on, and you can't do that with a custom property. So I can't really take advantage of this anymore. And it doesn't have to be red, like I could have in here, I don't know, 3F7. I don't know what color that is. But it's gonna, you know, if I 0.25, it's gonna get darker. Like, that's so cool, I find. Thanks for the follow, Davies. Okay, so that was the first thing I wanted to do. The next thing I want to do with this is, if these are going to be here, I think they're kind of chat bubbly, and I think it'd be interesting if they get brought in like chat bubbles. And there's a few things, they're different sizes, so the widths are a bit different. I think we can use some Sass for that. They have a random function in Sass. I don't remember how it works, but I think it will work. I know it exists, and it's pretty, I mean, it's random, it can't be that hard to do. So I want to do that for the widths, and for the colors I'm happy. This one you can't read, but other than that one, it's fine. And you know, we can just play with this number until you start getting colors you prefer. The less you change the degrees here, the more gradual, the less change there is between each one, and the bigger the number change, the bigger the, you know, you get bigger changes throughout. So yeah, I want to do the animation now. So if I do an @keyframes, and I think we could actually include the animation in this part to do what I want to do. Chat pop up. So it's going to be 0% will be transform scale of 0. And then 100% will be one of the biggest things I do in CSS is I misspell stuff. Transform scale of 1. And so if we do that, I'm going to just run that here for now. We're going to move it after. Animation. Chat pop up. 500 milliseconds. What's going to happen? Nothing. Transform. Thanks for the follow. I can practic power. Oh, 0%, isn't it? I don't... From 0 to 0. I don't have 0 twice. Oh! I don't have 0 twice. See there, I copied. There we go. Oh, I did that on the wrong thing though. I don't want it in my name. I want it on the whole chat. Okay, so it's working. So it comes in. Now, the problem with it, you can see how it's coming from the middle. If it was chat bubbles, usually they come from one side of the screen. So here on my transform origin, I want it to be my bottom right. So now when it loads in, it should all come in from that side. Actually, we're almost there. What I wanted to do now, though, is instead of all coming in at the same time, I want each one to have a delay on it. Now, we already have this that's creating all these nth childs for us automatically, so we might as well keep up there. So here I could do... Should we use a custom prop? No, we could do it with a custom property, but I'm an animation delay. But here we'll just use this again. So if I do my animation delay of that times 1000 milliseconds, so it'd be like 1 second for each one. It doesn't want to work. That doesn't want to work. Oh, because it's on here. Ah, no. No, that sucks. because it's doing it for this guy and not for my chat. So we could do it here, dot chat. Oh, that's not going to work either. Okay, I was right. This is going to be problematic. So I'm going to pull this whole thing out from here. So you could have those. Whoops, I might be missing. What's this guy for? Oh yeah, okay, we need all of this. I shouldn't have had it nested in name. You could do it nested in name, or I guess it would make sense to actually have it nested in the chat. So this would be ampersand nth child dot name, and then here I could just do my ampersand. I don't even need that then. I could just have it like that. And no dot there. Tidy up. Still not working though. Cancel. Save. Craig's asking if I've done much with the perspective attribute. I could look at that. Humble, I'll get back to your question in a second once I get this figured out. And thanks for the follow, motivation to study. Let me just see my view compiled CSS, because maybe I'm making a bobo here. Animation delay. Oh. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I do want to take advantage of this. Okay, so let's grab you. Whoops. Can I do this? Whatever. I think it's going to be easier to read if I do it like this anyway. And child. That should work now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so they each come in 1 second after each other, so that's perfect. The other thing we can do with that though is obviously you can saw there. Let's save that again. So when it loads in, nothing happens at first, and then it just does one at a time, and that's because this is the current state, and then the animation comes in after the delay, and then it's finished. And it stays at its normal state. So just to show as an example here, if I did this 2.5 on my scale, it's going to run, it's going to get to halfway, and then it's going to jump back to this state. Right? Because once the animation's finished, it goes, okay, I'm done with this animation, I'm going to go back to the default styling. If you don't want it to go back to the default styling, on your animation, we just need to write forwards. And then you can have it end, when it's finished the animation, it's going to stay at that the last state of that animation. Now in this case, I don't want it to stay, I want it to stay at the last state of the animation, but I also want to make sure it starts at the beginning of the animation. So I don't want it to start using these default properties. I want it to start here using my transform scale 0. So instead of forwards, because you can have something that forwards means start wherever, but when you're finished, keep the last frame. Like this, we're staying here. There's another one that says we're starting here, but ignore, we're not going to end here. We're going to go back to the default. But then, and I don't remember what that one's called because I never use it, but then there's also both, which means you're starting at the beginning and you're ending at the end. So you can see at the very beginning, none of them are visible, and then they each come in one after the other. But of course, I want this to go back up to 1. So then we should get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. We could probably get the delays to be a little, maybe I could even use a random in here just to mix up the delays a little bit, but I'm not too stressed. What I did want to try here is the width. Like here I like that the widths are a little bit different, and I think when I actually build this on my site, I will do a little bit of hard numbers just to line them up where I want them to be. But what I'm going to do, transform origin, for my width, we could do a random on here. This is a Sass function, so you can't do this in regular CSS, but if I did a random I think gives you a number between 1 and 0, 0 and 1, unless you put numbers in here. So if I do 10, then it's going to be random numbers between 1 and 10. but it's not going to work right now anyway. But if I do a calc of random times, say 80%, let's see if that works. It's not working, is it? Oh, but wait, I don't want that to be here. I actually want that width to be here, because I want each one to be different. So maybe it'll work if I put it here. And we'll check my compiled CSS, because it's definitely not working. It's true. I might... Okay, 1 second. View on compiled. I can't do it in the calc, maybe. Can I just do it like this? Because in Sass you can do math. You don't need to... There we go, it's working. Cool. It's a little bit too extreme, so maybe I could set like a min width and a max width. And then maybe even clamp that, like I could use a clamp maybe, but that's the idea there, like each one's getting a random one. Now, because this is being compiled into regular CSS, every time I load it, it's recompiling this, so it'll probably be random again. So if I refresh that, they'll probably all be different. If this was on my actual site, it would never change. I'd always get the exact same ones. It looks similar to what I had before. But you know, with this, it's Sass, so that means it's getting compiled into regular CSS. So every time it recompiles the CSS, it's going to be different values there because of the random number. But the width, like here, so this, you can see it's an actual width here. So like if you're visiting my page, you're not going to get different widths on it every time. It's always going to be the same width with whatever came in there. And I could probably set like a clamp on this to make sure they're never too big or too small. And again, you could just put in actual values for each one, but I just wanted to experiment a little with that. So I'm going to go back to Humble's question, and then I'm going to try and tackle my button. CSS.type. Doesn't want to load for me. CSS.type. Let's see. This is shown as a deprecated attribute from one of my projects. It had JS code for typewriter effect consisting this deprecated attribute. Are you talking about in CSS.type? I mean, in general, for anything, MDN is what I'm relying on for most stuff. I'm going to probably have to jump into here in a second since I'm going to be doing some JavaScript. So in here, it usually tells you if things are deprecated or not. Thanks for following, Arithmatics. Oh, welcome, Arithmatics. Thanks for the follow. Valoa, you can make a pseudo random number with and some multiplication and modulos. With my I variable and some modulos. Yeah, like I think even here, like for these timing functions, like for this, I could probably multiply this by a number as well, right? Or even itself, and then make this a bit smaller, and I could get it could seem a little bit more random. Oh yeah, there's can I use as well. I use this all the time. This is more for C. Does this tell you if something's deprecated? What's something like is marquee deprecated in HTML? It should be if it's not. It's, yeah, oh it is. Okay, so it says here, this feature is deprecated and obsolete and should not be used. So there's, yeah, it tells you here too. I usually use this for the other way around. It's like, is this supported by enough browsers and not as it stopped? I could use float and shape outside. I could definitely use, I need to come up with a good video for shape outside. I really like what I did on the video I did on Brad's channel for that. I want to come up with something very specific for that. So, I mean, it's not exactly what I want. Again, here, I don't know if Dart Sass would let me set this with a clamp. I know this one doesn't, because if I want to put values in, it yells at me. So here I could set like a min width of I'm going to use pixels, but in my actual site I'll use M's, but 400 pixels, just so like nothing gets smaller than 400, so they're not too tiny. And I could also set a max width on them, and it ends up, the only problem now, actually, I think most of them will end up at 400 pixels. The random here, I think if I give it a number, so if I said 10, it's going to be random numbers between 1 and 10, but I think it's integers. I don't think it gives me decimals. So I'm just like, say I did 2 and it's numbers between 1 and 2, it's just going to be 2 set widths. I don't think I'm actually going to use this here. I just wanted to experiment with it a little bit. Thanks for the follow, White Panther. Ashad. Welcome, welcome. They just all ended up being 300 pixels there. That's kind of funny. Okay, what I'm going to actually do though is turn off my animation, because that's going to drive me nuts if they keep animating in as we work on this. And I do want to take a look at this here with this button, because I think that could be interesting type of thing where you have like this hover effect with the circle, and I think I know how I want to do it. So if I have a button, because it will be a link when I do this, of going nowhere, and we'll write show me the light. And so let's try this out. .btn color. Actually, we could use, in the last live stream I did when we were doing on style stage, which I will be getting back to on Thursday. But on that style stage build, we were looking at light mode and dark mode and some tricks for that. So maybe we could use that for this, because I'm definitely using a clip path to do the circle. Color can just be 444 or 333. Background is going to be teal for now. Text decoration is none. Display inline block. Padding, oh, my color shouldn't, teal's kind of dark, eh? Whatever, I'm just going to leave it like that. Padding will be 1M, 3M. It's me a big button. Just because I want to make sure this can work. That's not that bad, actually. And let's just add margin 5M, so we have space. Okay, so I have a little button that's showing up. So that's a good start. And now what I want to do is I want to, first let's make the clip path that's going to be in there. So to do that, what I'm going to do is my and after. We're going to do it just like this first so I can see it, and then we'll make it into a hover. So it's going to be content. If you don't know pseudo elements, we always have to have a content property on there. Background can be white for now. Top, is it offset? Offset 0. No? Oh wait, that might work. And then I always forget, maybe it's offset. We're gonna find out in a second. Offset 0, but I need to do a position absolute. But if I have a position absolute here, position relative. It's not working, my offset 0. Okay, we'll just do it the long way. Top 0, bottom 0, left 0, right 0. If anyone can remind me, I always forget the shorthand property for these. There is a shorthand property that does all of these in one line that I never remember. Humble saying, so just going back to when he used the css.type. I wrote the JS code 8 months ago now, and when I revisited again, the attribute was shown as deprecated. Though it didn't affect the typewriter effect, it still looks off when seen from the client's perspective. I mean, the client won't, unless the client's reading the code, they won't know. And usually deprecated properties will continue functioning unless there's a security issue with them. So maybe it's not the end of the world. But yeah, that can be a bit annoying. But in general, when something's deprecated, it's like stop using this for future projects, and unless, like, it doesn't usually introduce a breaking change to something. So if it's something that was perfectly functional, but you might, it depends why they deprecated it. So the full design, we don't have the whole thing built out. This isn't, if Artemax is watching, you can see I changed a bit. This is off one of the earlier shares that he gave with me. Ignore the grid. I can turn the grid off. Grid off. I don't know if I'm going to implement the full thing, just because I do want to get the site up and live soon, like today or tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm going to have the exact thing that we see here, but this actually should look fairly similar. There might not be links and stuff, but I do like this idea of the H1. This down the side, it's really hard to see because the contrast is low, but it has like the code editor style. I think it's super cool, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. So I don't think I'll be putting it in for now. That could be a fun thing to add later on though, if I can figure out a good way to do it. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard, just even with an image at the end of the day that has like a position absolute. It's just the overflow on the bottom that could be an issue. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna tackle that one. I haven't even thought about it yet. I've just been thinking of this and my button, because it was like yesterday that I decided that I'll try and do something with this. Oh, inset. I said offset. Inset. So let's try that out. Thank you, Mr. Lin. So here, instead of all of this, inset 0. And then the cool thing with this is, if you did like inset, oh no, it's not working. Darn it. There is a shorthand, Ragnar. I've used it. And I've asked about it in the Discord the last time I forgot about it, and someone came back with it. It looks good with the grid lines, Craig. Yeah, it's not quite what I want to go for this one, but something like that could work. Let's go take a look here. Offset, not offset. Position. Shorthand. I don't know if it's... Let's go look. We'll start here and see if somebody has it. Oh, there is one. Come on. This is really old. It's not going to be here. It's relatively new. I don't know if it's how well supported it is. It is inset. But why didn't it work? Maybe it's just not supported yet? Inset. I've used it though. Oh, it's only in Firefox. That's why it's not working. But inset, if we get support elsewhere... oh, it's behind it. Oh, inset block. Is inset block the same as inset? I don't want the compat data. I wanted it MDN CSS inset. Yeah, so you could list it out like that. I'm really looking forward to this, because having to list out all 4 of them so often is so annoying. It's coming eventually. Oh, it's part of the logical properties thing, so that's why they said it's inset block. Is they're really changing, there's a lot coming to change CSS, so you're not dealing with margin left right, you're dealing with margin on the block axis, and then margin, I guess it's inline or whatever, like the margin top and bottom is not, we won't be saying top and bottom so much, and that way, depending if they're in a different language that has a reading mode that's vertical instead of horizontal, it automatically adjusts if you use the right properties. So I think this inset is part of that. But for now, we will use this. So if I do that, but then I do a clip path circle of 0, it will disappear, because it should be gone. You gotta spell circle right. Circle. Circle's a word I misspell every single time the first time. Every time. And then hover... Oh no, I can't do the hover there. It's gonna be... and hover after. We will do a clip path of circle 100%. I think we have to do 100%. So if I hover on top, it should just look like it's not 1. I misspelled circle again. See what I said? I can't spell the word circle. So it should, there we go, it just looks like it's flashing. But if I do a transition, I don't know how performant, I don't think it's the, if you're after performance, I don't think animating clip paths is the best way to go. Clip path, 500 milliseconds, ease out. That's gonna be long, whatever, we'll start slow. So now you can see it's growing. The thing with this is it's always growing from the center, which isn't ideal, and I can't read the text. I think what we could do for the text is my after could have a Z index. Let's keep this with my position. Z index of -1. Now, if I do that, it's going to disappear. See, I don't even see it at all now. And that's because it's actually behind the background. So it's behind my button itself, so I can't see it. And this is an annoying thing with CSS is stacking context. So this is even though this is positioned within my button, its stacking context is still independent on the page at the moment. But what I could do is give this a Z index, or there's other ways to create new stacking contexts. But if my button has a stacking context, now this is within that button. It can't escape outside of that button. So now the text will stay on top. So we can do that. And so I get that. Now, where this could be more interesting, though, obviously, is if this was, say, at 30%. So it's going to be smaller. So it, and then maybe even 10% or 20%. There you go. Something like that could be okay, but then I want it to follow my mouse. And that's where things could get interesting. And actually, I'm not doing, we might as well give myself some more room for this. So to follow the mouse, what we could do here with a clip path, we can say at, I could say like at 50 pixels, 50 pixels. So it's gonna be 20%, but offset by 50 and 50, which might be too much. There you go. You can see it's not in the middle anymore, it's offset. So that would work, but I think instead of that, what we're gonna do is a var x, I guess. And my default for x could be 50%, and then a var y with the default of y being 50%, because I haven't created these yet. So these don't exist. If it doesn't find it, it will use 50%, so it's going to go in the middle. If it had one, so if I said x is actually 10%, now it's going to use that 10% on the x, but not on the y. So it's going over to that x one. Papa Gulu's asking, yes, it'll be recorded. You can rewatch it here on Twitch for like a month, and then after that, or even tomorrow, it should be up on YouTube as well. Welcome to the stream, by the way. Thanks for the follow, Imau. Smaj Tara is asking why Inset is not compatible in other browsers. If we look here at the, we'll go to this one. It's in an editor's draft now, meaning that they've started developing this. So it's something new that they're adding to CSS that isn't there yet. So Firefox decided to implement it early pretty much. If something's in an editor's draft, it's not the finished version. And Firefox said, you know what, we're going to do it. Now it is possible that Firefox is the one that originally developed this. Because usually for something to be added to the spec, someone has to show how it's going to work, why they're going to do it, why it's good, blah, blah, blah. So Firefox decided this is something that would be important to bring it and show it to the working group. They might have they started working on it they already started working on it, so they had a working implementation, so they probably put it into their browser since they already had it anyway. The danger of using something that's in the editor's draft is technically it could change. So this happened with Internet Explorer and Grid. Internet Explorer put, like, all the browsers implemented Grid really early on, and then the other browsers kept getting updated, so they actually updated to the newer versions of Grid when, like, everything got changed with Grid after the first implementation. And actually Microsoft was one of the big ones pushing for Grid. So Internet Explorer 10 and 11, they use a different, there's a lot of things that are completely different with Grid, even though it technically works in those browsers. And it's because they did it at the editor's draft, and then Microsoft stopped updating Internet Explorer. They dropped that to work on Edge. So it got left in that like middle zone. So if something is in the editor's draft, be aware that it can change in the future. Mr. Lin, that's what we're planning on doing. He's saying it would be cool if we could follow the mouse. That's exactly what we're going to do, but for that we do need to use JavaScript. We can't do that. But that's why I created this custom property here, is what we want to do. So let's say const button is equal to document dot. This would be a little bit different if it wasn't just one button, right? Because if I'm doing it for one button, I can do a query selector. If not, I'd have to do a query selector all, and then we'd have to loop through them all. So we're watching all of my buttons, and we're not doing it for just one button. And the other disadvantage, what I'm going to do now, is I don't know the performance hit on these things, because I'm going to have to set up, again, I'm animating a clip path. Probably isn't, I don't know how performant that is. And then we're also going to be setting up, if I had like 30 buttons, it should only, we're going to be watching for mouse move, I think, right? Does mouse move make sense? But what we're going to do is, okay, let's do the mouse move first and see. Button dot mouse move. So that would, or no, button dot mouse move. Add event listener mouse move. Right, and then I'm going to need a couple things. I'm going to need the size of the button. Basically, I need to get the size of the button, because if the text changes inside the button's dimensions will be different. So I always need to be watching for the dimensions of the button. Let's just do a console log. Make sure this is working. So if I open up the console, clear. No, it's not working. Why not? Button. Oh, should this be... 1 second. Button.add event listener. Mouse move, comma, and then I need a function. So my function, I'm just putting the E here. Let's just see if we can get this to work now. Console log hello. Does that look good to you guys? Clear. Ah, there we go. Okay, I must have just did something silly before. So there we go. So anytime I go on, it's printing hello to the console. And then, yeah, anytime I go on, you can see it's just going crazy. I'm just in the console that's in CodePen right now. I'm not using the one in the browser. Now, I don't want to do that. We need to get a few different things. Enoch is saying that he thinks, Enochsteinmean is saying he thinks it should be fine for performance. This is just a function. CyberNoob29 is asking what this is. So this is the same as writing function E and then doing that and having my console log in here. It's just, this is an arrow function instead. It does change the scope of this, like the keyword this, but otherwise. Motivation to study is asking how much longer. I'm only going to be on for like another hour, probably 45 minutes. I do need to do other stuff. Usually I go, well, I always say 2 hours and I always go longer than 2 hours. So within the hour, like within 1 hour of now, I'll be getting off though. Is the music no good? I can change the music. Let's change the song. I can't hear the music, so I don't know what's going on. Oh, and Undead Pix is saying he likes the background music. But yeah, motivation to study. The replay will be here on stream. Yeah, I don't need the E here. But I will need it because I need to get the coordinates, and I think I need to have that in there to get the coordinates. Because basically when I go over, I want to capture where my mouse is. So every time it moves over this, I want to be capturing the coordinates of that. So that's what we could do now. Which would be the offset. Let's try console log e dot offset x. No. Oh, there we go. Okay, that did work. So I'm getting my x coordinate. So here, just even, so I would do a x is equal to e dot offset x, and then I could do a y is equal to e dot offset y, and then I could do a console log of x is equal to space x, plus x plus, and there's better ways of doing this now, isn't there? I don't write a lot of JavaScript. Y is equal to, and y is equal to y. So if I did that properly, I'm getting, it doesn't like something I did here. Oh, plus, probably. So now, there we go. Oh, I missed a space in there somewhere. And there we go. So I can see my x and my y coordinates as I move my mouse around. And it stops, so it's only doing it when we're on top of the button. Now, that's all fine and dandy. But if I get that in pixels, it's not really helping me very much, because I want it to be in a percentage of where it is on the button. So x, we'll call it x percentage is equal to, maybe there's a way of doing this that I don't know. Oh no, I need something else first. Let's get, oh, where I can leave that there. Whoops. Width is equal to button dot, oh man, it's not width, it's, is it offset width? It is offset width. Thank you, Mr. Lin. Offset width. And height would be equal to button dot offset height. So then what I'd want is to get that as math. So I could say that my x percentage is equal to x divided by width, and my my y percentage is equal to y divided by height. I think that makes sense. So let's console log that again, but let's do it with, instead of x, we're going to do it as x percentage and y percentage. And it should start at like 0 and go to 1. Oh, 0 to 1. So these, I could also then, can I just multiply by 100, or do I have to put brackets in there? Because I want it to be between 0 and 100 all the way on that side. We're not getting to, oh, yeah, okay, there we go, and up and down. There we go, perfect. So that's working the way I want it to. And that means what I could do is assign, so now what I want to do is button.style. Button.style. I want to set attribute, set button.style. Is there a different way to do a custom property? Cybernoob29, you could. I'm gonna keep this saved, so if you, if anyone wants to play with it, you could take this, just come down and click, well, you could play with it, but if you want to save the changes you make, just click on the fork button at the bottom, and then do whatever you want with it. Set, I was saying set attribute, but set attribute's not right, set property. Oh yeah, that does make sense. to give these all, I should have done that, eh? Or actually, 1 second. I just want to check one thing. Okay, still working. Good. So set property. I want to set my property of x to be x per. Do I need to add a... Let's see if that works. X per plus percentage. Haha! Look at that. So it's following me left and right now. So then we can do the same thing. Copy that, paste, and just switch the y to be my y percentage. And now it should follow my mouse. It sort of lags behind a little bit. That's okay. the 007 intro, yeah. There we go. Cool. So that does work. You can get rid of that. So there we go. We can have something like that. And then, I mean, when you click on my site, what's going to happen? Do I have it open still? No. CSS, demystified.com. Oh, this isn't even the right one. Where's my other one? Give me 1 second. So here, like if I have a button, if you click, it's going to go down. So we're not really going to see this happen. But what I'm going to do is... this could just go in here. My and active and my and focus. Oh, it is active actually. And focus after and active after. We'll get this guy. Actually, no, they're gonna get this guy, but at 100%. So if you hover, it goes like, if you hover, it goes like that, but if you click, it's going to grow out from there. But it's also going to scroll, and you'll never see that happen. It's just if you tab on or tab off, I think it's a bit more noticeable if we do that. And actually, this circle here, I should probably do that there too. So that way, it should shrink at the same place there. So like, if I didn't have that, if I'm saying the circle's at 0, it's gonna grow, I can move, but then it goes back to the middle, which is kind of weird, and then back to the middle. So here, if I include my variables, because those are being updated, when I come to here, and then when I go off, it's gonna shrink to wherever my mouse leaves. So I think that makes more sense. Oh, you know why it's lagging behind? Is because of this 500 millisecond delay on the transition. So it's taking that half second to follow the mouse around. If I had no delay, it would mean it pops out. Let's let it load again. It's gonna pop open, but then it's gonna follow perfectly. And then but then it won't shrink and grow with it. It's just gonna sort of come in like that. So you could do either one. Like a flashlight, yeah. Could you show your... Yeah, we can look at the... There might be a more efficient way to do this. I'm much more comfortable and confident in my my CSS than I am my JavaScript. Basically, we're finding the X and the Y here are looking at the E offset. So like here, that's why I have this here. Is so whenever we're moving my mouse around, it's tracking the event. So we're seeing like what's going on, like where is my mouse? And every time my mouse moves, it's updating that. And even, I mean, the best way to see what you can check, if you do console log E, you're gonna get a whole bunch of them. And I'll have to open up my actual console for this. Console's opened. Let's just clear all that. So when I go on top, so like this, the mouse event. So when I hear the console log of E here, is this mouse event. And you can get all of these different things about it. So here we have the offset. So like you could look through, where is it on the page, everything. So, and then there's the X and the Y there. So you could get any of them. So my offset X is giving me where it is on the X-axis. My offset Y gives it to me on the Y-axis. And then we're getting the width of my button. We're turning it, we're using this number based on the width to get a percentage. And then we're setting those percentages as custom properties for my clip path. What do lines 9 and 10? A torch if we go British, yeah. Did that make sense? So like I'm just trying, because these numbers that I'm getting here are absolute numbers. They're pixel values. Actually maybe I could even do it as a pixel value, because these don't have to be percentages. These can be pixel values. You could say at 10 pixels and it's going to be 10 pixels. So maybe I overcomplicated it. Maybe I could have just left it as pixels, but this is just to turn it from a pixel value into a percentage based on the button's width and height. Craig saying, in JS, you could add a class to the button on hover after 500 milliseconds that would remove the transition delay so that the circle follows instantly. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, I sort of like the delay too, actually. Who's that cyber noob saying he likes the cyber nub? It's kind of fun that it follows a little bit. Whoa, that was it's struggling, guys. I don't know if this is because I'm streaming. It's going a bit better now. It's not a very smooth animation, though. I'm gonna have to play with this to see if I can get it working okay. Because if not, I won't be able to do it. Because, oof, that's not a very good frame rate. So there will be some experimentation. Now I said I was going to use what I'm curious about. What time is it? Okay, we can try this. If I had it like this, let's change my color to FFF, just so it's white. My font weight can be 700. And then, because now obviously it goes white, you can't read the text. So could we do... But if it's pure white, it's not going to work. I was thinking of a mixed blend mode. I could have it invert. Ragnar, was it you who shared that link? Was he using a filter to switch the colors with the clip path overlay? Oh, Zeppy's asking, would I keep this on the mobile version of it? Because obviously, actually, one advantage of my site is most people are probably going to be visiting it on desktop unless they're reading emails, because they'll be going from YouTube, and most people that watch my YouTube videos are watching them on desktop. So most people might actually get this experience, but it is a good point. On mobile, this doesn't do anything. The only thing that could be interesting is on touch events. When you touch, it's going to expand out from where you touched it on. But of course, the page is going to instantly scroll, so you might not even notice. It might not be worth keeping on mobile. This could be something that we only do once we get to a certain screen size. Oh, that's a good point. I'm console logging everything, like the whole event. So that's a lot. It's still a little... It was working better before, though. Or maybe that's just my delay now. And that might just be the delay coming in. I don't know. Anyway, it could also be because I'm live streaming. I know that that doesn't help the CPU at all. Arthemix is saying it's nice when it grows, but yeah, I mean, I could definitely... We could see. Okay, the first thing I'm going to try and do is see if I can get the text to show up when I'm hovering over in a different color. And then we can look at seeing if we can change, like play with the JavaScript a little bit to get rid of the transition delay. I mean, actually, the easiest thing, the problem with this is it's every time I'm doing anything, it's up, like JavaScript's running the entire time my mouse is moving on top of the button. So here it's mouse move. I could do another one of button.mouse. I don't want to do it on mouse. I guess we could do mouse button.add event. Let me just move this up. I know it's kind of weird if it's at the bottom of the screen. Add event listener mouse enter. Because what I could do here, and I don't even know if I have to do this as a custom property. There's probably another way, or even we don't have to. Add, no, sorry, We could do a function. So when the mouse comes in, my button style set property transition delay to 0. Does that work? Oh no, but that's not going to work. Even it's not working at all now anyway, so I might have screwed something up. But I need to time that out by however long this is. Because if not, it's going to turn it off immediately. Anyway, we'll look at that in a minute. A few more people following. Cronan and GM Awesome, thank you for the follows. So for the text... Ragnar's not here anymore. Darn it. I think it was... We had a cool thing. So one thing I could do... I'm not going to do black... I'm not going to change the color to white for now. Just because I'll show you an easy way this could work. If this changed to orange, let's say. And my text color... So if I do that, it's orange. And my text color will be blue. And I know this isn't going to look great. Color... blue. Just so we have some different colors on here. So what we could do is with my after, could have a mix blend mode of, we'll try inverse. Maybe this would even work, but I don't think it would work with the other ones. That's not working at all anyway. Okay, we'll just do multiply for fun, because that should at least show us. Oh, but it's not working with the text. But see how it's not actually orange now? It's blending in with the color behind it. And I'm pretty sure... Mix blend mode multiply screen. I think this would make my text actually change to orange. Oh, it's not changing the text color either. Blue. Oh, who's black? Doesn't... Which one did I do there? Oh, no, I did screen. So would it be multi? Shouldn't... Oh, I know why. My after is behind my text. Kevin. I did that so it would work before, but I'm going to turn that off. There we go. So it's actually going above my text now, so it's lightening, it's changing the color of my text using mix blend mode. So would inverse work here? Inverse. I don't know if this works. Inverse doesn't work. I thought we could inverse. Or is it difference? Difference? Difference is a weird one, though. I'm gonna have to get something to show me what the different... That's kind of interesting. So there we go. We can see that we can change the colors around a little bit. So now if this was background of white, what would happen? I think it's just going to change everything to white. Oh. Right, so it's inverting the color of my button. So it's not making my button white, it's switching the color from, like, it's the whole color wheel thing, the 180 degree switch, that's what's happening. So my black is switching 180 degrees, and my button's background color is switching 180 degrees with that one. So that sort of works, but it's not what I want. I really want the background to be white and the text to change to black. And I don't know if I can do that with mixed blend modes. We can use filters, but I don't know if a filter is going to work on this. Let's go look at mixed blend mode for a sec. Mixed blend mode. I might open up Photoshop in a second. I just want to see if any of these make sense to me. I don't think any of these are going to work. And I mean, these have been around for a while, but I know at one point Safari didn't support all of them. Yeah, that's what I thought would happen. It's just using the luminosity of my white, which means everything's becoming white. Craig Miller, would it improve performance to use math floor on the X and Y percentage so it uses a round number? That's possible. Maybe it would. And maybe even if I didn't do that, and I just kept it as a pixel, I'd have to try and see if that would work. I needed a profile picture of me for something. I'm not just doing it for fun. I'm not that full of myself. Alright, let's just move this so it's the right screen size for you guys. Whoops. The reason I'm going to Photoshop is because I know I can do it really quickly here. So if I take this, and I make it teal-ish, and then I take some text, and hello world, which is black, that's perfect. Put that on top. Actually, yeah, we'll leave it black for now, and see if we can get it to work. And then what I'm going to do is just make a shape. It's going to cover something like that. And that shape, where's my layers? Oh, there's my layers. This shape here will not be black. What if I did gray and I did it with overlay? So here, this is why I want to go in Photoshop. I can just like see what they would all do really quickly. No, overlay doesn't work. The problem with black, like my text is black, so I don't think I can actually do anything about that. Oh, that's... Oh, there's differences working for the text color, but not my background color. That's a little closer. Divide. Divide's kind of interesting, but how would that work if this was... No, it's not working at all. If that was black... Oh wait, I wanted my text to be white though, right? Yeah. So I don't think I can use a blend mode for what I want to do, because blend modes with white and black tend not to do anything. Unless I made my circle black. That's another option. Just because the way blend modes work is they tend to... It's usually everything in between white and black. They tend not to work with white and black themselves. Other than the one, was it difference that we saw that you can invert colors. The reason it's not working there is because I made this black. If this was white, it would invert the colors. So the other thing we could try is a filter, but I don't know if a filter is going to work either. Like here, if I can get filter to work, I can just do one filter. But I don't... This is why I don't know if the filters... Like if I can do a filter... Is it inverse? Filters. Filter CSS. Invert. That's the one I want. But I don't know if it's going to invert 100%. I don't think it's going to invert what's behind it. It's just inverting itself. Right? And if the color here was black, it's inverting itself to become white. And that doesn't change anything. Oh, if my button, I think my button contrast ratio, whoops. That's VS Code, I don't need that right now. I've done my yeah, I don't know if I can get that effect to be only within... The other thing I could do is have two overlapping things and almost use the clip path to show one of them that has the text inside of it too. But I don't really want to do that. Oh, that's an interesting question. Jonah Joe is saying, what if I play... Like, if I invert? What would happen there? Opacity. It's not going to give me the effect I want, but I'm just curious what happens. Yeah, it's only inverting. The filter only works on itself, not on what's underneath it. Unless you're... Isn't there a filter for blur, background blur or something like that? Anyway, I don't think I can get exactly what I want out of this one. Which is kind of annoying. Again, there's probably a way to do it. Here, let's see here. just as a... Let's turn those off. And here, this will be px instead, and see if that works. There'll be a bit less math going on for it. And then we also wouldn't need to calculate any of that either. Does that work still? Okay, so I didn't need to do the performance is better there too. It's just the delay is kind of weird right now. But the performance is better. So we didn't need all of that percentage crap that I did. We can just get the offset and then have it set to that offset. And it will work perfect. Oh, can you... Yeah, it's not inverting things that are behind it. Unless, the only thing I can think of now... No, because it's just making it white. Like, it's because I have it as black, so I'm inverting it and playing with it, and... There is a way to do this, though. Isn't there? Or is it just with that mix blend mode? I mean, it's not the end of the world if that's what it is, right? If I just do my mix blend mode of... Was it difference? It's not the same idea. Wasn't it that? Oh, here, this has to be white. If difference relies on like a white to black scale, so white means it's 100% switch. If it was a mid-gray, it would be a 50% switch, and at black, it means there's no switch. I don't like the color that it's becoming right now, but I mean, it's kind of interesting. A few more follows, thank you guys. Eloria and 65 Savage. Arthamax, yeah, I mean that's the other one that I could definitely do is, or even on the content here, would this work? Show me the light. I don't really want the content in there twice. And then display flex, or even display grid. Place items center. That could then just get them to overlap each other. I think they're overlapping, which is why I can't see it. And then my color. So here, instead of doing this, color, let's just try red. I just want to see if this is working. Yeah, that works. So my color here, and again, this would be where it would be better to have, like if this was a custom property. So if I said DG is teal, var DG, and this would probably be up in my root, it wouldn't be doing it here. And then my color is var DG. The only issue with this is I'm worried some screen readers might read this content. Hi, 65 Savage. I'm doing good. How you doing? But this definitely gives me the effect, right? Cronan's asking if I use CodePen. I'd mentioned it earlier, but I use it just for rough drafts. If I need a rough draft of something and I'm trying to play around to see if I can do something, I'll do it in CodePen. I find it's like I don't care about the code that's in here so much. And it's a mindset shift for me. So then when I am if I want to use this in production, which I eventually do, I'm not refactoring it in VS Code. I'm sort of doing it as I bring it into VS Code. And for me, as a mindset thing, it's much easier. Because if I get something working and it's in like, even if it's a branch that I need to eventually pull into my master, it's working. Do I really need to refactor it to make it like clean and better? It's working, let's just go. Whereas if I'm bringing it over, then I don't. If it's something simple that I know how to do, I wouldn't do it here first. If it's pure experimentation, this is my rough draft area. Random viewer 2, welcome. Thank you for the follow. If users only knew how hard it was to put these effects on websites, yeah. Well, I'm hoping for this site at least people will, right? Since it's for my course where people want to come in to learn CSS. So what do you... I should ask somebody, if anybody's an accessibility expert, let me know if this is a really bad idea, but I might keep this for now. I might ask some people. The performance isn't perfect yet, but I think it might be because I'm streaming too. So we could look at removing that delay, and I'm trying to think if there's a good way to do that. One thing I could... No, I can't. I wish there was a way of adding on the pseudo element, an area hidden of true. Because I don't think I can do that on there. If it's a bad idea, if you will change the text in the button in the future. That's true. That is true. Isn't there a way? I mean, the one way you could do it is if you wanted to really be sure. Actually, what if I took this off? No, then I won't see anything. Yeah, that doesn't work. One, you could do this as a data text, I guess, and have the same text. And then this could be content is attr data text. Do I have to put anything in quotations there? Oh, that's working. There we go. So you could do that. So at least like you see it all here, and it's not the CSS. That probably makes more sense. But again, I don't know from a accessibility standpoint how good of an idea this is. Yeah, I'm gonna say your name wrong. Sate Creed Gaming. It's definitely the content. Like if you're putting content in here that should be read, it's definitely a bad idea. In this case, I'm duplicating the text, but that's also a bit of a bad idea. It's not that this text is inaccessible. From what I understand, some screen readers ignore the content property, and other ones read it. So you don't want to put something in there, like if you make a tooltip, and I've done this, I have a YouTube video where I do it, but if you make a tooltip that's based on this, some screen readers will just completely ignore it. So it becomes inaccessible, so it's a bad idea. Something like this where technically this is a decoration. Like from my perspective, this is purely decorative. The only issue is some screen readers will actually read this 2 times. And I don't think there's a way of preventing that from happening. Thanks, Jeff. He's just saying what I like most about your streams is what I like most on your streams is the amount of things that we learn per minute. Thank you. If there is a metric for that, yeah. Cronan, could you set it to a JS variable? This here? I mean, I could, but I don't know what I would want to do with it. I mean, I guess I could get JavaScript. I think that's overkill though. Like what I could do is get JavaScript to get this text and then insert it as my data text, and then the CSS would then populate it with, but I think you're asking for trouble if you do that. Because even if the CSS renders before that JavaScript does, it might just end up being blank. Why is my chat word per minute 150-ish, but my programming API 50-ish? Yeah, well, Alan's asking that. I mean, I think we all type slower. You have to think. There's a lot more thought process going in when you're programming, right? Your thoughts line up with what Accessibility Web says. It does say that some will, yeah. And it's annoying that, I mean, it's a little bit, I mean, it's annoying that some will and some won't. I would rather that they all did or all didn't, because then at least you can make a bit more of an educated decision. But it's a little bit like browsers too, right? Some browsers might do something a little bit different than others, and we have to work around that. Undead Picks, you have to go have a class from AWS. Cool, enjoy that. I won't be on too much longer anyway, so you shouldn't miss too much. Thanks for the follow, Mika. Craig's asking about something so it wouldn't be spoken. really nice effect though. Yeah, it's a fun effect. We'll see. I'll look in to see if there's more. Alan Woot. I am a data scientist, young and balding. Ever since I was young, I was dreamed of dyeing my hair. I should have dyed my hair. Thank you for the follow, Sacred, right? Sacred Gaming. There we go. My wife wants me to dye my hair, but I'm not. I don't know how well you can see the grays in there of it. Valoa asking me about a certification. If there is one, I should take it. It's something I really want to improve on. I'm not an accessibility expert by any means, and especially because I do so much HTML content on my page or on my YouTube channel and through everything. It's something I'm trying really hard to improve on, but there is the Ally project. This is a good place to start. I can't speak. This is a good place to start if you want to learn more. They can do audits, but build basics. Where is it? Oh man. Checklist. Here we go. So they go through like making sure that you have, or they talk about the difference in A, AA, AAA, but then success criterion, but based on content, keyboard, images, headings, lists. Like they go through a little bit of everything. Animations, color contrast. They touch on a little bit of everything. So even, is it this one? Or here it's just making sure you're using the right things. This is something I should do, but you can just go through and like check off for your site, did I do these things? But they have a section even on like organizing your content and stuff. Is it under headings? No. Anyway, this checklist is a good place to start. And they have other stuff too. Resources maybe it was in. Anyway, I would recommend starting here. I haven't been on there in a little while, but the Ally project is definitely a good place to start. Lisfabig, Lil Saf Big, how's it going? Welcome back. Thanks for the follow, Patchy Codes. Sacred Gaming's mentioning Chrome's accessibility tools, which are awesome. There's also in Firefox. If we go to, I don't think it's going to mention anything, but let's just pull up my actual current site. If you go into your here and then, I always forget where it is. Like we have this regular guy that we can look around at stuff on, but they have an accessibility tab. There it is. And then it changes this icon to an accessibility one. So this is for like your color ratios. One nice thing with this instead of Chrome's is that it will actually check if you have a background image or gradient. I don't know how the image one works, but I know Chrome's color checker doesn't work with gradients because they're images. This one does, which is kind of cool. But even you can see it gives you like the breakdown of how it's being seen, which is kind of cool, and everything. So you can get simulate for different like contrast loss. So if you want to see what it looks like for low contrast and stuff like that. And you can check for issues too. So you can just have it check for contrast issues, and it found some somewhere apparently. I don't know where. How do I get to it? Oh, it's this guy here. That's a pseudo element, by the way, that's coming in and doing that. So I have a contrast issue on that, which is fine. It's decorative. Or I could check for text labels, and I might have some. There you go. So I have a few things that should be labeled, apparently. I have a form without a label. The email address should be the label. I must have mucked something up there. Huh, I didn't set those labels up properly, because those are, the first name and email address are labels. Anyway, you get an idea of, you can do an accessibility check with Firefox. Welcome, FinRail. Thank you for the follow. Lighthouse, I've done that on my own site too. So if you're in Chrome, if you do Lighthouse, you can get there's actually some good things in here that it picks up onto. Let's not worry about that. Let's just do an accessibility one and see what it pulls up. The nice thing with this too, so yeah, it's mentioning some places I could do area, and it's what I wanted to talk about. No form fields have multiple labels. That's a good sign. Additional items to manually check. So there's things that it can't do, so make sure there's a logical tab order and other stuff, which you should always do. It didn't pick up on that other one. Ah, okay. I know why. That's why my inputs are screwing up. I'm using ConvertKit for my email, and they don't have like a naked form, so I must have screwed up along the way. But one thing you could definitely do, so if you have content you don't want a screen reader to see, you could do a area hidden equals true. And so if it's a decorative thing or double text, just to show you where you might have double text, is my video, CodePen. The video I'm putting out this week on YouTube is going to use that. If we go and take a look, I'm not going to dive into how it's done. You can watch my YouTube video, but this one's actually a bit of a I did a glitch text. So for that, I actually have the text 3 times to pull this off exactly how I did it. So if a screen reader got to here, it might say glitch text, glitch text, glitch text, which would be bad. So I can area hidden true 2 of those out. And also, you know, make sure you include a prefers reduced motion to turn that off, because that's super frustrating. Like, that would drive me nuts. But some people it would, you know, for me it gets a bit annoying after a while, but for some people it could be like they really don't want it for different reasons. So if they disabled animations, we want to make sure it's not running. But yeah, doing this will just prevent the screen reader from reading the text 3 times. And it's actually, if you look up area hidden, one of the things they say is for repeat text. So it doesn't read it multiple times. But you can't, as far as I know, there's no way, like I wouldn't want to do that here because then it's going to skip my button completely. But I also don't want it to, you can't do that for the pseudo element. Craig Miller, I've never used ConvertKit, but funnily enough, I follow Carly Mary TV on YouTube, who is the marketing designer or something like that. I love ConvertKit. I've used a few different email platforms. It's expensive, but it's for good reason. It works really well. But they give you like pre-styled forms that come with all this inline CSS and all these classes and IDs and stuff. So it can be hard to strip it down to then restyle. So I must have just mucked something up along the way. I think I'm gonna implement it like this on my site, but I'm gonna ask people for input on that on Twitter and stuff. I have a few people that I follow there that are big on accessibility, so I'll ask for some input and if they have other ways that I could do something like that. The other option I could do that would, you know what? The other option would be to have a second div lined up. So instead of using position absolute on this, I would put a second div directly on top that does have area hidden true on it. And do this exact same thing, but only for the one on top. So I'd have to wrap it to do that. And I'm not going to do it now because I'm going to be leaving in a few minutes and ending this stream. But I could have like div buttons, I don't know, button, whatever the effect name is I want to put on that. And then I would have one of them be the actual one that we see normally, and then the second one could just be the text. I could do like a span that's area hidden equals true, and that would be the same thing, show me the light, and maybe there's yeah, I guess I'd have to do it like that. Or maybe I could even put that span inside here. Here we go. Maybe this is the right way to do it. And the span has that. And then here, if I did it that way, instead of an after, this would be my span. Content would go back to this. I completely broke it, I think, now. But I think something like this might work. And then my span has the position absolute should be working on there. Thank you for the follow, Dandy, Serenity, and Sleepybeard. Oh, it's not a pseudo element anymore. Thank you. I'm like, I need to keep that. Papagalu and you and me seem to be on the same path with some of this. Every time I go to try something, I see you suggested the same thing in the chat. Ragnar, you're back. How do we do it without the double text? Stanley Inc., welcome. I'm going to be leaving soon, but let's see if I can get this. If Ragnar can remind me how to do this without the double text, I'll gladly do it. The important thing is my colors, though. I was doing it with the mixed blend mode, and it doesn't work with the mixed blend mode because I didn't get to get my exact colors. Hades the God, welcome. Yeah. You seem to be reading my mind, though, Papa Gulu. Since 2016. Awesome. I've been at it for a long time. Display grid, place items, background color, position absolute. The span is there. Okay, the span is there. I think it's now because here I don't... This isn't doing what I want it to do anymore because I need to change the clip path on the span. Is this going to work? And I'm going to have to change this when it goes in production because I want it to be on more than one. Oh yeah, can I clear? Oh, do I have to... Because I want it on the button over. When I go on there, I don't... span is equal to button. And this, like, this would be changed. I might even change this from an arrow function to another one so I could use this. But anyway, button... button dot query selector span, and then span. Shouldn't that work? Console log. Hello? Okay, so that's working. Console log span. It's working. You can see it's coming up there. So my span is working. The X and the Y, are they updating? The X and the Y are updating. So these are changing on my span. Oh, Kevin, it's because you didn't change this stuff. And hover, span. And hover, focus, span, and span. Silly, silly man. There we go. And my JavaScript is going crazy in the back. We'll close that. There we go. So that works, and it's not using a pseudo element, and we can hide the text from screen readers. Oh, Ragnar said he can't tell me now, but we can do it without the double text. Sorry, I misread that before when you said it. The span, Papagulu's... Am I saying Papagulu? I think I am. The reason I don't need the span should be on top because it's here. If it wasn't, I would use I could change the Z index, but I didn't need to for that. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for now. I think this will be how I implement it in the site, because that works kind of cool. I think there's a little bit of a delay on it now because I kept the animation, but I think that because I went with 250 milliseconds when it was 500, I sort of like that effect, but not for how this should be working. Whereas it really lagged behind, so now it's like really lagging behind where my mouse is. I think with the shorter time here too, it's not so bad. Thank you guys. I wouldn't have put this in if people didn't start asking me about accessibility, and I would have probably, I think I improved this a lot just because of your help. So that's good. And just one of the reasons I like doing these live streams is I can I put more effort, I think, into it than if I was just doing this for my own thing. When you think the reason I have the ease out is because the way I want the circle to grow and shrink. But let's try at 100 and see what it looks like. That's why I don't have it as linear, though. That might be better, actually. It's following closer. Because here, if it's linear, I just don't know linear. It's not terrible. I mean, it's not bad. Linear. I'm going to check one thing after this, too. I think I'm going to stay with ease out, though. At that speed, it's really not noticeable. It's just the way I want it to grow. That's the main reason that I switched it. Just so it slows down a little bit as it's growing, instead of just that stop. And let's hit save. And the one thing I do want to make sure is that this is working in Firefox. I don't see why it wouldn't work in Firefox, but I do want to make sure that, nightly. Okay, we'll just go with regular Firefox. And there's nightly opening. Can't find. This is Firefox, and it works there too. Am I zoomed out? Oh man, I'm zoomed in here. Okay. There we go. It is working. Cool. Good, good, good. Alright, thank you guys so much for coming. I am going to get going because I'm going to eat lunch and then I'm going to implement this into my actual site. Not on a live stream because it does slow me down a little bit and I want to get this all up and running and working. For those who missed it, the replay will be available, but obviously right now we've spent a lot of time on this. And before that though, just as a really quick recap of what we looked at was just some Sass loops that we can do. And you saw me make, at the very beginning, a fool of myself with Sass. But here for the different colors on my text, I was just looping through, I made a Sass loop so I could loop through and change, where was it? Oh, this one. I'm changing the hue, so each one rotates through. So if I change this to 200, the colors will all be different. You can see all the colors change. So that was the first thing I did, and then after that we did the button. Thank you guys for being here. I see a few Zeppy and Papagulu, Jonah Joe. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. You're all saying it was fun. You enjoyed it here. Thank you guys for being here and coming here. It kept me going. It got me, that button improved a lot thanks to you guys. So I appreciate that. A big thank you to, I'm going to say your name wrong again, Artemix. Oops, not there. Anyway, this is what the site will be looking like eventually. So come back to my site tomorrow if you haven't already. Arthematics might be it. Thank you very much for the layout and the inspiration on that for these chat bubbles and stuff. Oh, and the other thing, I've disabled it now because it was getting a little bit annoying, but we did make those chat bubbles come in. They won't be laid out like this, but they'll come in a little bit more like little chat bubbles onto the site when the page loads in. We'll have something like that. I might modify that a little bit, but we'll have something like that running to grab people's attention a little bit. Cronan, great stream. Thank you for being here. Glad that you learned a little bit along the way. Ravi Prasad, 172. Ragnar, yep, I'll see you on Thursday. Ravi, I'm glad you liked the stream. Can you share the CodePen link? Of course. There we go. So again, if anybody wants, like, you can play with this code, do what you want with it. If you want to save it as your own and play with it, like, you can play with it here and see what it does, but I don't think it'll let you save. So just hit fork and then you can save it in your own account if you have one. And you can do your own thing and play around with it as much as you want. And if you don't want that happening every time, just right here, just comment out this. If you're not used to Sass and you want to see like what the loop's doing and everything in CodePen, you can go to the view compiled CSS and see what the finished CSS looks like instead of what the Sass looks like as well. Am I saying your name right? Arthematics? Arthematics. Let me know if I'm saying your name all right. Oh, it is for okay. So if you work on my pen and then hit save, it'll fork it automatically, so you don't have to worry about it. And I'm saying your name good. Good. And again, thank you very much for the design inspiration and the work that you put into that. It was very, very appreciated. .217 is your date of birth. Do I have a 217 in here somewhere? Thanks for the follow, Vroom28, and thank you. We got a lot of followers this time. I don't know how many people ended up in here. It's the first time I have it in the chat popping up, so I can know people are following. But it seemed like a whole lot of people, so thank you guys so very much. And I will be back on Thursday afternoon for my time, but check the schedule on my stream page or my Twitch page to find out when. And if you're not already following me, obviously, or not obviously, because you're not already following me, but over on YouTube is where most of my content is, so you can get more stuff over there on YouTube. And yeah, that's where, let's go back to this one. There we go. So over on YouTube is where I've made my bread and butter, and I have tons of stuff. Alright, I'm going to hit end stream on this, so thank you guys so very much for hanging out with me. It was a lot of fun, and hopefully you can all make it back on Thursday. So